doing otherwise? Good, everybody?
Good.
How are you, John?
Okay, busy. Other than that, good.
Good.
Supposed to rain?
Uh-oh, an
Any
error
rain tonight?
occurred.
Supposed to rain tomorrow.
We have an error.
Okay.
Well,
Well, I
Brian's
know.
usually here.
Please try again later.
No,
But it
I
says
might have a
it's
problem
live.
there. Oh, it was
Error
working.
occurred.
I had it.
You have it? Okay,
Yeah, I
let's
have
just
it.
take this off.
Showing an error.
Let's just take this one off.
Yeah, I had it.
Okay.
Let me check it. I kept it on.
It could
How
have
you
just
doing,
been
Ray?
this program.
Hi, Ray.
Yeah, it says we're live. Look at that, I fixed it.
Good job.
She messed it up.
It's still on, Brian. We're
Yeah, yeah.
good. We're good. I didn't touch it. Yeah, we're good, Brian.
Thanks.
I seen you get up and walk. Is it late? Did someone walk out? Are we good? Oh, we got it. Okay. We got one more minute. If that's right. Oh, gosh, look at that. I think that's the first time that clock's been right on time. I was telling everybody, maybe we'll go through the legislation, since there's a couple new things. Instead of going through it and just voting on it, go through it and then assign it and then vote on it. Since there's a couple things you added and stuff that we can just talk about or whatever, but maybe I'll read the memos from Joe and Rob in the record.
Any baseball games?
Basketball,
Oh, they're still playing basketball?
yeah, all the way
AAU?
till it goes, yeah,
Yeah.
all the way until it goes into high school.
Who's he playing with?
He's playing a lot of TNBA, that club.
Where close by, out for you?
He's playing on a team out of Avon, actually. But
Our favorite,
you were right on time, Ruth. I seen you looking at your watch.
We had it for the funeral.
Yeah, I was there earlier. For Grace?
Yes.
Boy, she was sick a long time.
Oh, yeah, she was, definitely. Oh, my God. More than 13 years,
Wow, I didn't know that long.
yeah.
Wow. Well, she's with Julius now. Yeah, that's a, life certainly isn't fair, you know? Okay, we ready? Everybody good? Fred, Diane, Jennifer?
Yep.
Yes.
Nikki, Ray, Ryan, John, okay. We call the order, the regular council meeting of the Village of Walton Hills of Tuesday, April 16th, 2024 at 7:01 PM. Next, number 2 item, Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to take a moment of silence for our deceased residents, Marie Kanda, James Ziak, and Grace Carrickers. Thank you. Roll call, Nikki?
Councilman Nielsen?
Here.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Here.
Councilwoman Allen?
Here.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Here.
Councilman Whedon?
Present.
All of council present, along with our fiscal officer, Nicole Sell, and our law solicitor, John Montello. Item 5, any persons having business before council. Also like to welcome the residents or non-residents that are watching via our live stream tonight. We do allow for comments throughout the meeting, so. Any comments from anybody watching?
No.
Okay. Move on to the mayor's report. Okay. The mayor's court revenue for the month of March 2024. The Walton Hills Police Department issued 159 citations in the month of March. The predominant violation was speed, with 48 citations issued, followed by 41 citations issued for expired plates, and 14 issued for driving under suspension. We had 1 arrest for driving while under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Okay. The mayor's court report for the month of March. Total revenue, $26,353. Year-to-date, $70,850. Last year, year-to-date, $57,831.91. So that's up. Okay. Any council comments at this time? Okay. We'll move on to item 8, which is zoning board applicant. We have Mr. Alexander here. If you'd like to come up, Jeff, and introduce yourself and tell us why you're here.
My name is Jeff Alexander. I'm here to present my information about getting on the zoning committee. I'll give a little bit about my background. I'm a 46-year resident of the village. I moved here in '78, and in the last few years, I became more involved with the village because many years I worked nights where I couldn't get involved in a lot of things. Since then, I've joined the Lake Club and became a trustee in the last 5 years, and I figure I can have knowledge to help the zoning committee on a few things. Some experience I had from 1969 to '91, I built heavy equipment for the auto industry, and I also did concrete and waterproofing work for about the last 30 years as a sideline. And I bought and flipped a couple houses, doing the majority of the work myself. And so I have knowledge of construction, concrete, excavation work. I had my excavation equipment for a few years. And going back a few years when I sold Tinker's Creek Tavern, Walt Presages taught me about perk testing. I don't know if you're familiar with that is. You test the soil to see how long it takes to drain. And that's done basically with septic tanks and new development of property to make sure that the property can sustain the project. You know, Walt Presages was very helpful in that. I think he was a civil engineer. So, let's see. I've always tried to help out with people in the village, going back as far as Mayor Thelman asked me to help a couple of residents that their properties they were negligent in taking care of them, and I did that for the residents, and of course, there's no compensation. In fact, one job ended up costing me $200 in broken equipment, but that was all right, and he gave me a proclamation for helping. I guess at that time, he's told me that you couldn't take somebody to court because we were a village instead of a city, if I remember right. And so he said we don't want to take people to court if we didn't have to, but that was almost 30 years ago. So, and like I say, I'm familiar with a lot of excavation work, and I noticed in our zoning, some of the zoning, like we only require like 3.5 inches of concrete for residential driveways or sidewalks. Most villages and cities are 4. Well, a 2x4 is 3.5 inches. So that's what it ends up being. You know, they design differently. There's no such thing as a 2x4 anymore, you know. So, let's see. And I'm familiar with, some of the other regulations. I learned a few new ordinance regulations that I wasn't aware of about, how many buildings you could have and the square footage of. I always thought that we were only allowed one building per parcel, but in reading, I noticed that under 40,000 square feet, you can have one building, and over 40,000, you can have 2 buildings, which I really didn't know that. And I think a lot of other people are not aware of that, But, anyway, I've hooked up a 2 or 3 septic systems to city sewers in the past few years. One in the village, 2 in Bedford, and one in Solon. So I have the knowledge of that too, what it takes to get that done, and that's about it. Have any questions?
Mr. Alexander, Jeff, I know you were at the last meeting, and we had 2 other applicants at that time. And one of the questions that was, might be the only question that was presented, it might have been a couple, was how do you feel, I think Mr. Spitzenagel might have asked it or whatever. Being a small community, on the zoning board, you have to make sometimes decisions. Sometimes it ain't so popular, it could be your neighbor, could be your friend. Are you feel comfortable being able to make those decisions?
Yeah, I feel I have a pretty good rapport. I was in the tavern business. Well, I was around it since I was 5 years old, and I sold my tavern 7 years ago. So I had a pretty good rapport with people. Sometimes, mix alcohol and makes it different, but I could get along with people, and I would not feel that. I was before the zoning board years ago when I built my horse barn and stuff, and some neighbors objected to it, and after that it was fine, and I wouldn't have no trouble, talking to a neighbor resident about what happened in the case. So.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Alexander? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
And then I know we have one of the other applicants here, and maybe Mr. Hamlin could be listening, but I'll let you know as soon as we decide. Okay. So we have the legislation. I know I kind of just roundtabled it with council as you walked in, but I thought we would go through it. Everything we've gone through, quite a few meetings. We had our representative here for our health care. We went over the Lake Club contract. But I just kind of want to, we'll just kind of go through everything one more time. And then I'd like to talk about, all of us talk about the couple pieces of legislation. Well, a resolution that was added, which was the ODOT SALT program. We'll kind of go through that when we get to it. And also, we did receive and have the bid openings for Alexander Road Phase 3. So why don't we just go through, and then we can assign, you know, whoever wants to do it, and then we can then go back through it. Does that sound good? Okay. So we have item A, Resolution 2024-12, the Walton Hills Lake Club Agreement. I think everybody's pretty good with that. It's the same amount as last year, the $25,000, same programs. We budgeted for it, it's in the budget. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Who would like to introduce that?
I can do that, Mayor.
All right.
For
For suspension, please, yes. Then we have item B, that's the resolution 2024-13, the life insurance. These, one, two, three items coming up, those are for the insurance and dental coverage and vision for, not vision, but dental and health for the employees. We did have our broker here from Oswald who went through them. We've talked about them even before the year we got into 2024. We wanted to get the one renewal the same May 1st. So we do have item B, Resolution 2024-13. That is the life insurance through Standard, our current carrier. Any questions or anything on that? Okay. Who would like to introduce that?
I can do that.
Jennifer will do that for suspension. Then we have item C, Resolution 2024-14. That's the healthcare coverage through Anthem. We did talk about that. We had our broker here to explain that. Any questions on that? Any questions from any residents as we go through these?
No.
No, okay. Who would like to introduce that for suspension?
I'll do that one.
Okay, Diane, well. She beat you, Fred.
You can have the next one.
We got item D, Resolution 2024-15. That's the dental insurance through MetLife. That is one that we did change the carrier, correct, Nikki?
Yes.
And I know council was concerned and the administration was concerned anytime we make a carrier change that the employees, that it works for them. Okay, it has to work for the village. We're concerned about what we spend, but we're also want to offer a good benefit to the employees. And so I know Mike from Oswald sat down with the employees, gave the opportunity. They actually went through, Nikki provided information for them, they went through. If the same dentist that they're using will be in the network and everything seemed pretty good. There might have been a couple out, but the coverage is good that even if they go out at network, it's even better coverage. So the employees were pretty happy with that. And we made the change for a savings, for better coverage, plus a savings to the village. Okay. Who would like to introduce that? Mr. Nielsen, would you,
That's fine.
all right. Then we have Resolution 2024-16. That's the Storm Sewer Inspection Program. We did talk about that last week. And at that time, I think I read Mr. Gelati's memo into record, but I can do that again. Did everybody receive a copy of that? Okay. The village has received 3 bid proposals for the project known as the 2024 Storm Sewer Inspection Program, bid tabulation attached. I have reviewed the bid proposals and have identified the lowest and best bid proposals, that being submitted by Televac Environmental. in the total amount of $59,840. References have been checked successfully. I'm therefore recommending that Televac Environmental be awarded the contract for the 2024 storm sewer inspection program. Any questions on that?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I had the question last week on that line 7. Were you able to find out anything from Joe about
Oh,
why
let's see, what was line 7? I did talk to Joe quite a bit about a lot of things. What was line 7? Diane, let's see. Do you remember?
the O&M setup? Everyone is pretty close in figure until we came to
No, I didn't ask him
the
what that was.
other one that was like way higher,
No, I didn't ask him what that was.
and that might have thrown them over on,
Well, they have the bid package,
yeah.
so they have to understand the bid package. It's not up to us to explain, you know, they get the bid package. If they have questions, they can ask them, but they submit a sealed bid, and that's it. If they don't understand it, and they've given their bid, that's,
Yeah, the bids are in. I just wondered if Joe, if you were able to ask him
no, I
about that
didn't, Diane.
particular thing.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I can try calling them right now if that's a concern.
No, that's okay.
John's trying to.
I'll Google it, see if anything pops up.
Mr. Mayor, there's a question here from Karen Remming.
Yes.
And she is asking, what percentage do our employees pay toward the benefits?
Do you know?
15%.
Okay. Did you hear that, Karen? 15%.
It is what it is.
Operations and maintenance. O&M is the performance of day-to-day activities required to maintain Bureau-owned and/or maintained facilities to the maximum extent. So it's operations and maintenance.
Probably have to comply with Ohio law.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Make sure they have traffic controlled and things like that. I will ask them.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Karen Remming noted that they are very lucky, the employees.
Well, we're lucky too. We got good employees. So it's a two-way street. And we try to give a good benefit package. We want our employees to stay healthy and be healthy and use their benefits. Wellness is important to us. Okay? Are you okay with that, Diane?
Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize for
It
not
just, that's
getting
what
that.
threw, that line in particular is what threw that business over so much.
Right, right. Maybe they didn't understand it, but that's,
I know, Mayor,
yes, go
I
ahead.
know sometimes some companies are, we've come up with the instance where some companies are, they have all of their equipment somewhere else, and they have to get it here, you know, whereas in another company would bid a lower bid because they're already in the vicinity or they're already in the village doing something. That could have part of it, I'm not for sure, but we've run up into those instances before.
Let me,
Just away from that all the time.
okay. I will ask Joe, I know it'll be after the fact, but just to kind of give you a little insight, there was, you guys probably remember this, last year, bids were opened, and then one of the contractors felt they made a mistake. There's nothing you can do about it because you can't allow them to correct it after you open the bids, because that's not fair. The whole process is, so it's a sealed bid and you bid it competitively. So, I just kind of wanted to, do you remember that, Ray?
I do. I have another question, and this might help. When the bids are open, that's also a public session. and any of these guys can be there. Is that correct? So any of these contractors could have been at the bid opening to, you know, to understand they know what the bid is. Because it's a public session, public
Okay.
for those guys.
And before they submit their bid, they could call Village Hall and ask any questions they want, and we have to provide the same answers. It's all, you know, facts, you know, so they have time, you know, the package goes out, and then they have time to bid on it. So, but good question, and I'll find that out, that way we'll know it moving forward too.
Okay.
I apologize
appreciate
for
it.
that. Okay, so everybody good with that? Who would like to introduce that?
I'm ready to introduce it.
Okay, Mr. Whedon. Okay. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there's no cost to us on that, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's a fully funded project. Okay. All right, now, we are on Resolution 2024-17, that's the ODOT SALT program. As you know, we are in a consortium with other communities to get competitive pricing on our salt. The consortium puts a contract together, and basically what we're passing here, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, is to enter into that consortium again and be part of it, correct, Nikki? And we apologize for it, but as you can see, I know, Rob, well, I'll read the memo. This was the mayor. We, as well as many other municipalities in the ODOT SALT Consortium, did not receive the SALT contract participation invitation from ODOT until April 10th. The participation in consortium requires that the village submit resolution via the ODOT website by Friday, May 3rd, 2024. I recommend our participation in the ODOT consortium and support the passage of this resolution. I know at the time when me and Rob were talking, he was going back and forth with John, and John, you mentioned you got this, your service director mentioned to council, you got it at the same time. So, I won't say anything about government, but we do have it. I mean, we could put it on for different readings, but we would have to pass it before May 3rd. I would recommend, along with Rob, that we pass it. The consortium's worked well for us. When we weren't in the consortium, we paid more for salt per ton. And it's still gonna come before us with the prices, the price per ton when it, and how much we need to buy when they reach the deal. So we're not awarding any of that yet. And then Rob wanted me to say, I think we said we used 1,200 ton.
We used 1,200 ton?
That's about what we use a year.
Here, I think the reason the prices come in late is because they were waiting till winter got over to the suppliers so they could determine, you know, how much they used, and the price probably went down, actually, I hope, because there wasn't much, well, at least in this part of the country, but who knows? I think that's maybe why we get the late notice, because they can't determine what the cost should be until the winter's over. Yes.
So my suggestion, along with, actually more important, would be the service director's recommendation. And I know the other communities are going along with it in the consortium, would be to pass this. If council's okay with that?
I'm okay, Mayor.
Okay. Who would like to introduce that for suspension?
I'll introduce it, Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Spitznagel. Okay, then we have Resolution 2024-18. That's the contract with Carvo Companies for Phase 3 of the Alexander Road resurfacing project. Okay. April 12th is actually when excuse me, I'm almost positive that was the opening of the bids. Joe put this memo out, and I'll read this into the record. Dear Mayor Colograph, the village has received 8 bid proposals for the project known as Alexander Road Phase 3 resurfacing. Bid tabulation attached. I have reviewed the bid proposal and identified the lowest and best bid as that being submitted by Carvel Companies in the amount of $486,139. Carvel has previously completed similar projects for the village of Walton Hills. As such, I recommend the contract for the Alexander Road Phase 3 resurfacing project to be awarded to Carvel Companies in the amount of $486,139. Joe Gelati, Village Engineer, Sugar Valley Engineering. I just want to read, well, a couple things. Joe put together an email, sent us an email. Sent me an email, then I forwarded it to council, just to kind of give us an idea, and that's why we're pretty happy about what came back too. Our original, let's see, what did we budget originally, Nikki? We budgeted.
425.
Like a half.
Yeah, 425, yeah, and it came in, what did it come in at here? It came in $112,000 less. So,
Could you repeat that, Mayor?
it came, okay, so here's what, let's see. I gave you a memo on it, I'm just trying to, I got it here, let me just tear it off. Ray, do you have the memo? If not, I have an extra. Okay, OPWC money is all in the form of a grant. OPWC will pay for the $249,999, or 35.7% of the cost of the project, whichever is less. The contract award was, of course, $486,139. OPWC is going to pay $173,552. The village share is going to be $312,587. Budgeted village share was $425. Estimated village savings compared to the budget was $112,413. So that was, if you don't have it, Ray, I have some
I
extras.
think I read it electronically, but I don't have a paper copy.
Here, you can
That's
pass
fine.
this down. I think I put,
Oh, I see it.
okay. And you have it electronically too, so that's.
Yeah.
So that was nice. We can certainly use that, because we know we have some expenses with the collective bargaining agreement coming up, and then, Mr. Whedon, Councilman Whedon, in his infrastructure committee, along with the other infrastructure committee members, talked about the potential bike lane, that we did apply for funding for that. And I had Joe respond. He sent an email. I know me and Councilman Whedon talked a little bit about that. Did you want to add anything to that, Ray, before I?
No.
Okay. I'll just read the memo because I think it's important. But this is from Joe Gelati. This has to do with Alexander Road Phase 3, potential bike lane designation funding. We're just waiting to hear from the county if they're going to award us a grant for that. So the question Councilman Whedon had, for the other council members too, was if we approve this Alexander Road Phase 3 and we get the grant later, will that affect the project? And I'll read what Joe wrote here because I think he sums it up probably the best. So this is from Joe Gelati to the mayor and council. Legislation to award the Alexander Road Phase 3 contract to Carvel Companies is on the agenda for the council meeting of 4/16/24. It is recommended to pass that legislation as per letter 4/12/24, which I just read in the record. This is needed to allow Carvel to place the project on their construction schedule and to help ensure we do not lose the previously awarded OPWC funding. As discussed in previous infrastructure committee meetings, we do have a request pending with Cuyahoga County to provide $132,000 in grant money to designate Alexander Road as a bike lane. In my communication with the county on 2/20/24, the county indicated they would have more information in late March, after they meet with the county executive. I reached out to the county again on 4/12/24, and I'm awaiting a final response email thread attached. You did receive all this today from Joe. The county's current greenway plan proposes to designate Sagamore Road as a bike lane. I believe Alexander is a much better location for such a designation, thus I believe our request is justifiable. If our request is not granted, the village is no worse off financially. It should be noted that if Alexander Road Phase 3 were to be designated as a bike lane, there would be no significant impact to the current project, which we'll be passing tonight. Designating this road as a bike lane would only require the addition of some roadside signs and some additional pavement markings similar to Dunham Road 2021. This would not require any widening of the pavement, any detour, or any substantial cost to the project, different than Dunham Road. Thus, it is recommended to proceed with the contract award while a request of the county is still pending. So, hopefully we'll get that, and it'll be a good project. We'll have our Alexander Road finished for a while at least, until the Phase 1 gets bad again, but it will be pretty nice. I know it's pretty bad down there, and we're hoping Valley View continues it, and I'm understanding they are looking into that too, so. You got a lot of memos in the last couple of days between the salt and the project. That's up to council if you want to put it on for first reading. Very few times does engineering, usually we get well in advance, but I think we're all pretty much aware of the process, and it's similar to what we talked about. We went through the bid process and follow the engineer's lead. So I would ask that we also pass this resolution tonight on suspension. Unless anybody has any questions.
Just a comment.
Yes.
No, I think we're all in agreement that we really, when we have the opportunity to not have to pass legislation by suspension, you know, that would be the preferred way. However, this project, we know, is weather dependent, it's contractor availability dependent, and getting on the schedule is important. And I would be honored to introduce this as well.
Okay, is everybody okay with?
Yes.
Okay.
Question back there, Mr. Mayor.
Yes. Yeah, come on up to the mic, Jim, yep. You have to state your name and address, your birth date, your wife's birth date. No. We want to get you in trouble when you go
Not the
home.
wife's birthday.
Yeah, we want to get you in trouble. Go ahead.
James Conkey over at Somerset. My only question to you.
Yes.
Phase 3, and just kind of putting notes together, is that going from Valley View to Dunham then? Is that what Phase 3 is?
Yes.
Yes.
That's it, sir.
That's-
Thank you.
That's exactly where it's going.
Can I go?
Yeah,
Except for her in front of her.
Not put her outside.
Yeah, they're gonna stop right
we're going to
there.
stop 50 feet and then we're going to continue. See, Brian got you back for that comment you made
Well, I still
last
have
week.
more here than him, so.
And Ray, to your comment, actually this administration along with council has been talking about that Phase 3 for a while, besides, you know, just it finally moving forward with the grant and everything, but trying to, you know, get that whole Alexander Road complete. We talked about it in quite a few meetings, as you're aware, and in your
Right.
committee too, so. Okay, so Mr. Whedon's going to introduce that for suspension too?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I think we're ready to go through the legislation. Any questions from any residents that are here about the legislation or anything else? Any questions or comments from anybody watching our live stream? Okay. Who would like to introduce Resolution 2024-12 for suspension?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Spitznagel.
I'd like to introduce Resolution 2024-12 for suspension, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Walton Hills Club Company, an Ohio corporation doing business as Walton Hills Lake, for the provision of recreation services for the benefit of the residents of the village through the remainder of the calendar year 2024 and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second by Councilman Whedon. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Suspension passed 5-0.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Spitznagel.
I'd like to ask for adoption of resolution number 2024-12.
Is there a second? Second by Councilman Whedon. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Resolution 2024-12 passed, 5-0. We have item B, Resolution 2024-13, life insurance, the standard.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilwoman Jennifer Allen.
I'd like to introduce for suspension, Resolution 2024-13, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the fiscal officer of the Village of Walton Hills to enter into a contract with the Standard for basic life and accidental death and dismemberment insurance for all eligible village employees and declaring an emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Brian Spitznagel. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Suspension passed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of Resolution 2024-13.
Second.
Is there a second by Councilman Spitznagel? Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 2024-13, passed 5-0, thank you. Item C, Resolution 2024-15, healthcare coverage, Anthem.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce for suspension Resolution Number 2024-14, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the fiscal officer of the Village of Walton Hills to enter into a contract with Anthem to renew insurance coverage for all eligible village employees and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Allen. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed 5-0.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption for Resolution Number 2024-14.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Jennifer Allen. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay. Adoption passed 5-0, thank you. Okay. We have item D, Resolution 2024-15, dental insurance, MetLife.
Mr. Mayor? I'd like to-
Councilman Nielsen.
I'd like to introduce for suspension Resolution Number 2024-15, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the fiscal officer of the Village of Walton Hills to enter into a contract with MetLife and dental insurance coverage for all eligible village employees and declaring an emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Kanzoni. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, suspension passed, 5-0.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adoption of resolution number 2024-15.
Second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Kanzoni. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, adoption passed 5-0. Thank you, everybody. We have item E, Resolution 2024-16, Storm Sewer Inspection Program.
Mayor Colograph, members of council, I'm introducing resolution number 2024-16, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with J&J Environmental, Inc., doing business as Televac Environmental, to perform service in regards to the 2024 Storm Sewer Inspection Program and declaring an emergency, also asking that this, the three reading rule be suspended for this resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Nielsen. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Suspension passed 5-0.
Mayor Colograph, members of council, I'm asking for the adoption of resolution 2024-16.
Is there a second by Councilman Nielsen? Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, adoption passed 5-0. Thank you. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, we have item G, Resolution 2024-18. That's contract with Carbo Companies for Phase 3 of the Alexander Road resurfacing project.
Mayor, you skipped one.
Yeah.
It's
F.
2024-17.
Salt.
Oh, I did the sewer, not the salt. Okay,
Mayor,
so who would like to introduce Resolution 2024-16?
no, that's 17.
17.
Yeah, 16 was the televac.
Should I try it one more time? Item F. Resolution 2024-17.
You're
ODOT SALT
honing in on
program. I'm getting closer.
Mayor, I'd like to,
Councilman Spitznagel.
thank you, sir. I'd like to introduce resolution number 2024-17, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation, Office of Contracts, Purchasing Services for participation in the Ohio Department of Transportation's contract for rock salt and declaring an emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Allen? Okay, second it. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman
Oh,
Nielsen?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I don't believe I said for suspension.
I thought you did in the beginning, but go ahead.
Oh, maybe I did.
For
I apologize.
suspension?
For suspension.
Okay, vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Mr.
Yeah, I
Mayor?
messed you up. Suspension passed 5-0.
And Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Spitznagel.
I'd like to ask for adoption of resolution number 2024-17.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Allen. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, adoption passed. Thank you, everybody. Okay, we have item G, Resolution 2024-18. That's the contract with Carbo Companies for Phase 3 of the Alexander Road resurfacing project.
Mayor Colograph, members of council, I'm introducing resolution number 2024-18, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the fiscal officer of the Village of Walton Hills to enter into a contract with Carbo Companies, Inc. for Phase 3 of the Alexander Road resurfacing project and declaring an emergency and suspending the three reading rule.
Second.
Second by Councilman Nielsen. Vote on the suspension.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Suspension passed 5-0.
Mayor Colgraf, members of council, I'm asking for adoption of resolution number 2024-18.
Second.
Second by Councilman Nielsen. Vote on the adoption.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, adoption passed, 5-0. Thank you, council. We have item 10 here, J.C. Commander, who's from the Bedford High School. I think he's the athletic director. He requested, I know he sent Council President Spitznagel some emails about coming tonight and at the end, but I think something came up and he couldn't make it.
Yeah, it was, Mayor, if I may, it was, he originally requested for tonight, and that was like last week at Friday when I
Right.
got the email, I believe, and I said, I don't know if, I know we're gonna have a bunch of stuff on the agenda, so, let's see, could you come either the following COW, one of those two COWs, and he wrote me back this morning and said, sure, I can come back the second COW, so that's when we'll have him.
So we won't have item 10 thing. Mr. Commander's been here before and has updated us on the programs in Bedford, and he's always welcome as anyone else from the school system. So we look forward to him being here in a couple weeks. Okay. Any old or new business?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Diane.
And Mr. Montello. Right before I came here, I had the news on, and they have in Columbus 2 House bills right now that they are looking at to help protect the homeowners on the squatter situation. John had said that it is trespassing, there's no lease or anything, but, so it is trespassing if they come back from vacation and someone's in their home. But there is 2 House bills now that they're looking at to also protect the homeowners from that type of situation here in Ohio.
Nora and I talked about it real quick also, you know, if you know someone's going out of town, just call the police department and they'll give it special attention, you know, so they'll watch the house for you. That'd be a good idea for anybody that's a snowbirder going down south, to make sure the police know about it.
Yeah, just so residents know, and we could, that's a good point, we can put it actually in the journal coming up. We do have a house watch program here. If you're going out of town, or just for some reason you aren't going to be at your residence, and you would like, maybe you have a death in the family, and we know sometimes houses get robbed at those times, please call the police department. They'll give you a form to fill out, and our police department will do a good job of keeping an eye on your house. Hang on one second, Ruth. And just to make a point to that, I know in my morning meetings with the mayor, and I think council and myself have said it here, if at any time you feel something's not right, whether it's at your house, your neighbor's house, any house in the village, or even if you're driving in it's one of our communities outside, please call the police department. We'd rather have you call than not call. Our police department, the dispatch will welcome that call, and we'll dispatch somebody. We'd rather have somebody go out, look at the situation, and maybe prevent something or find something before it is too late, and then it's a lot harder to solve the situation. So don't ever feel, oh, I'm bothering them, or they got better things to do. They'll make that decision. If you call for something and they are on a call that requires their immediate attention, they'll go to that call and then come to your call. But let them make that decision. No call is too small. Do not, and they stress that to me, the dispatch and the police chief stressed to myself, counsel, the law solicitor, the employees, that if residents have a problem, call us. Okay? So please do that. And we protect ourselves. You know, if some people say, oh, I don't want to get involved, well, let the police get involved. You can do that. So with that said, and we can put something in the journal about the House Watch program. That would be a good thing, just to put a little blurb in there. Okay.
The forms are right in the
The foyer?
hallway. Yeah,
We'll put
they're
some,
listed in the bookshelf there.
yeah, thank you, Jim. We'll put something in the journal relating to that, too. Any other questions for old or new business? Any questions? Ruth, you had a,
Oh, I was just gonna say, every year I go south, every year I have a house watch, from November to April,
right,
and I've had no squatters yet. I wouldn't know what to do.
I was gonna say, last year I ran out.
our
of people
police will
left.
know what to do, I can tell you that. We'll leave it to the police department, and that's who we should leave it to, let them and the law department.
Mr. Alexander has one.
Yes, Jeff. Yeah, I just didn't, I gave Ruth a break, Jeff.
Jeff Alexander, 7312 Walton. Our police are represented by a union as a bargaining agent.
Correct.
Okay, what about the other employees?
They're non-union.
Now, do they share the same benefits?
Healthcare, yes.
Okay, but the union for the police bargain just for them. So do they pay 15% or do our other employees pay 15% towards their health care?
No, the police pay the same.
Yeah, the
all
police
pay the
play the same toward the health care.
Yeah,
As do the other employees?
non-bargaining employees,
Yes.
yes.
So there's no other unions besides the police union that we deal with?
Correct. We have one collective bargaining agreement.
Okay. Okay, I guess that's all I wanted to find.
All right,
Okay, thanks.
thank you. Any other questions from any residents or non-residents or anybody watching? Any old or new business?
Mr. Mayor, just,
Councilwoman Allen?
I would like to say, since Mr. Alexander had brought up about the collective bargaining agreement, the safety committee is still waiting on some information from our law solicitor. A couple of questions that we had to clarify before we can move forward more with that and get it to our officers. And as soon as he has that, I'll be in touch with the rest of the safety committee, and we can hopefully have that proposal for the officers.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other new or old business? Okay, I'd like to ask for a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Nielsen.
I'd like to ask for adjournment of the regular council meeting Tuesday, April 16th, 2024 at 7:55.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Whedon. Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned at 7:56.
Enthusiastically and emphatically.
It is a beautiful evening, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And it might be one of our, well, it's not going to be our last, but it's going to start getting a little cooler after today, so thank you, council. Everybody have a good evening, good week.
You too.
Thank you.